For the last couple of videos, I've been looking at John the Baptist early in the Gospel of John. Basically, John chapter 1, verses 19 to 34, where John is introduced. But there's more I have to say about that, and there's more I want to say because there's so many important lessons to learn from this segment of John the Baptist. John was a very important man in ancient Israel. In first century Palestine, he was widely regarded as a prophet of God, as a man of God who spoke the words of God and brought the messages of God. There was apparently no one that didn't seem to agree with that by the records that we have. But John, when he was questioned about, are you the Messiah? And he said, no, I'm not. And they said, well, are you Elijah? And he said, no, I'm not. And they asked if you are the prophet. And he said, no, I'm not. And he said, what you want to do is not look at me. You need to look for the one that I am preparing the way for, the Messiah, who turned out to be Jesus. And so there are some lessons that I learned from this, and I want to share with you. First of all, the importance of, no matter how important you are or think you are, it's important that we serve in the role that God has given you to serve in, to participate in his plan of salvation. God gave John the Baptist a specific role and a function. It would have been so easy for him to jump out of that when they were asking him, are you one of these people? And he said, no, I'm just the one who cries in the wilderness, preparing. I'm the voice. I am the one who is preparing the way. I am the one who is baptizing. And so this important message for us is serve in the role that God has given you to function in. Paul said the same kind of thing in 1 Corinthians 12 and 14 and Romans 9, where he said each of us has been given a different spiritual gift to function in a specific way that the Spirit has given to us, that he has chosen us for a particular task, and do that particular task. That's where you will find fulfillment. That's where you will find that you are doing God's will, not in wishing you were somewhere else. The grass is always greener on the other side. Learn to mow your own lawn. Take care of what God has given you to take care of. Serve in the role that God has given you to participate in his salvation plan. Something else I learned from this passage about John the Baptist is a reminder that no matter what things look like or feel like, God is executing his plan for salvation. He will bring it about. Remember, when John the Baptist came on the scene, there had been roughly 400 years of what's called silence. No prophet had been sent from the Lord. No particular messages like that. And people after 400 years, that's a long time, they could be thinking God has forgotten us or God doesn't care. But just because we don't see God doesn't mean that God isn't working or that God isn't playing out his plan. God is executing his plan for salvation, and he will bring it about in his time. The third thing I learned from this passage about John the Baptist is it's the job of all of us to point the way to Jesus. John could have pointed people towards himself. He was very important and well respected, but his job was to point people to Jesus. We see that in the texts that come after this in John chapter 1 also, that when Philip and another disciple met Jesus, they ran and told others, we have found the Messiah. Point the way to Jesus. And when they found Nathanael, they brought Nathanael to Jesus. Like, bring people to Jesus. That's the point. It's not to get people to see ourselves. John the Baptist said, I must decrease. Jesus must increase. That's what we're all about. Point the way to Jesus. And the other thing I get from this passage about John the Baptist is that you can certainly expect opposition and hostile treatment from people who are not part of God's family. They will not understand. They will not respect you. They will not encourage or affirm you Matter of fact, they will challenge you, they will oppose you, and even sometimes be hostile to you. That's to be expected. Wear a helmet. Life is tough, as Candace Owens said. And so just be prepared to handle the opposition that's coming your way. Don't think that God doesn't care or that he's not fighting for you. This is part of what it's all about. So these are some great words of wisdom from John the Baptist to help us through life. Serve in the role that God has given you. Don't worry, God is executing his plan for salvation. He will bring it about. Your job is to point the way to Jesus. And if you have opposition and hostile treatment, Jesus said that's to be expected. They persecuted him, they will persecute you. And if you are living a life for God, you can expect that. But still, be faithful and serve in the role that God has given you.